Hi, good morning, everybody. So today we are going to talk as to how India is faring vis-a-vis other countries, what's shaping up our consumption, and some of the key trends in apparel and consumers. When we look at the world today, there are developments that are difficult and chaotic. And within that, there are conflicts, slowing economies, aging population, and there is sustained GDP growth of the Indian economy. Some good things to see. Growth in GDP in India has been in real terms of over 5% year on year, and a high share of private consumption of categories of merchandise and services that you and I consume. And that forms a very large share of our GDP, which is about 60%. And that enables the growth of both merchandise and services in India. So today, we see the retail market cross over 1 trillion, and the services market also at about 1.3 trillion, and both growing in double digits. India, in comparison to other countries, we were the 7th largest economy 10 years ago. Today, we are the 5th largest, and in 5 years, we expect to be the 3rd largest economy, displacing Japan and Germany. There has been a steady growth of India's private consumption. Again, we growing from 1 trillion to 4.5 trillion in 15 years, whereas US and China only doubling, and Germany and UK not even able to do that. And this enables the growth of both merchandise and services, making India a very attractive market among all the large economies today, where we see that both domestic brands as well as global players, when they are looking at new markets beyond their traditional geographies, they are looking at India as the new destination. Within this, we see we are the fastest growing retail market, merchandise retail market, in double digits, whereas all the others, large economies, are still see single digit growth. Again, within all the retail categories, the discretionary categories are growing at double digits. When we see the segments that we are talking about today, fashion, accessories, home, and footwear, they are growing the fastest. Still, among all the other categories, at about 11% is what growth that we see in the coming 5 years. What's shaping up India's consumption? About 25 years ago, we just had 8 categories of merchandise and services to choose from. Today, we have more than 20 categories, and that's growing. So we have a lot more options to spend on, a lot more categories to consume from. Also, not only in urban centers, but in rural India, we see a shift from the food categories towards non-food categories of merchandise and services. We have the youngest population across the world, with a median age of about less than 30. Our urbanization is seeing a steady increase. We are going to be about 40% urban by 2030. And by far the largest millennial and Gen Z population. Half our population is contributed by the Gen Zs and the millennials today. Again, when we look at the consumers who are spending, the aspirational core consumers, today they form almost 39% of our population. We are talking about consumers whose household spend is about 8 to 10 lakhs per annum and above. And today they are about 39%, growing to about 45% in another 5 years. However, within that, when we see luxury is still a very, very small segment at about 2 to 3%. However, at a small base, this category is also witnessing high growth, and we expect to see that in the coming years. And this is not across a single category, but across multiple categories. be it real estate, be it apparel, be it jewelry, and other categories. So from today, about 7 million households who are consuming premium and luxury products, we see that growing to a sizable 12 million households in another 5 years. Again, what's driving our consumption? What are we dependent on? Festivities and weddings. We have festivals spread across the year, across different pockets of the country. And when we look at weddings, we have about 1 crore, 10 million weddings a year, which is expected this year. And each wedding, we spend an average of about 12 to 15 lakhs. So we see the kind of budgets that are there. We look at the size of this market. And there are premium weddings, mid-premium weddings, and mass weddings, out of which about 2 lakh weddings spend over 50 lakhs on a single wedding. Again, now we've talked about the products, we talk about channels. All channels of retail are thriving, be it modern retail or traditional retail. When we look at modern retail, right now it is at 19% of total retail. This includes both brick-led retail as well as e-commerce. And we expect this to contribute to about 25% in another 5 years, while modern retail is growing in double digits at 14%. Even traditional retail on a large base is growing at about 5–6%. Something to think about: currently, our consumption is concentrated in the top 20 cities of India, with accounting for almost 40% of our urban consumption. We need to see how we can go to the other geographies as well. Again, something which we need to think about is how do we tackle climate change, how we tackle extreme weather conditions, because that's impacting sales, that's impacting our consumer choices. From where we want to spend on other discretionary categories, we are spending on categories which is led by extreme weather conditions. While eating out saw a decline of about 25 to 30% during summers, fashion retailers are also estimating loss of days, and we need to build in for it. Flash floods, heat waves, short spells of intense rain are impacting our sales. Some of the apparel and consumer trends. So again, consumption is not restricted by origin. We have categories, we have brands, both global as well as domestic, across all price segments in India. And each segment has its own customer base. There has been, so when we talked about downtrading, when we talk about that we are not consuming what we were earlier consuming, we are downtrading from premium to value to economy, from luxury to premium. There is an explosion of organized value fashion and lifestyle retail. We see a number of brands that have expanded across the country and are growing at very, very fast pace. This comes both from same-store sales as well as new expansions. Again, this is something we all know. Quick commerce creating a new normal. We are looking at categories. We are looking at a market of almost $13 to $15 billion in next 5 years from the current $4 billion, something which was negligible 5 years ago. And quick commerce has extended beyond food and grocery, beyond FMCG, to a number of categories today. We are even buying our laptops and phones through quick commerce and getting it in 10 minutes. Again, while we are talking about national players, there are a lot of regional champions that have emerged. Some of them are the old ones that are expanding now. Some of the new ones that have grown in the last 10 to 15 years, and they are looking at not expanding nationally, but saturating the entire region, state, and then looking at meeting the specific requirements of that particular state or region. When we look at marketing, the shift towards digital marketing, and within that, the localization of influencer marketing. So today, again, we are going into further segments. We are not looking just at the mega creators, but when we are looking at niche markets, when we are looking at small locations, we are looking at micro creators and nano creators that have a follower base of less than 1 lakh as well. So today we have a creator count of almost 4 million in India, and basis our requirement, we are able to localize our marketing. So see, these were some of the trends that were there. So some inferences, some thoughts to take back. The world is changing at an unprecedented rate, and the changes are in multiple dimensions. We've all seen that. However, and that has also, it's made it very difficult for us to project what's going to happen in the next 5 years. While we are forecasting, we are doing many things, but we ourselves have to be very dynamic. We have to adhere to the changes and take actions accordingly. However, within all this chaos, India is among the few large economies that has the potential to grow. Already a large base, and we are growing at a steady rate. We have all sorts of consumer segments, right from the baby boomers to the Zen Alpha today and Zen Beta. Again, the attractiveness of India's private consumption is leading to a rise of new entrepreneurs and also unexpected diversification from established players. So we have a market for both, and obviously the global players who are looking at new markets beyond their traditional geographies. However, some things to think about, some areas that we need to work on. How do we tackle climate change, the economic and social inequality which is prevalent, and what's the quality of urbanization that's going to give us the high streets and the malls for retail. Thank you.